Wikipedia says parkour is a training discipline using movement that developed from military obstacle course training. Practitioners called tracers or traceurs aim to get from one point to another in a complex environment without assistive equipment and in the fastest and most efficient way possible. This kind of is the shallow end of parkour. This is what I would explain to somebody who's never actually heard of the sport itself before. But in the end, that's not all that parkour is. You see, parkour is many different things to many different people. You get different types of parkour as well. You get tricking, you get free running, and then you just get parkour, which would be what I just explained now about what Wikipedia so nicely just put up there for us. You probably saw that actually if you're watching this video at this point. Parkour is a lifestyle, okay? So many people just live the parkour dream. Just look at Storo, all right? Storo is a great example of the lifestyle of a tracer or parkour athlete, as people call them now. But at the same time, they're not all that parkour has to offer. And they have one of many different types of lifestyles. They have a vlog, so if you want to go check that out, feel free to go check out Storo's vlogs. They do some amazing stunts. Parkour is also known as a sport. Unfortunately, at the moment, it is categorized under gymnastics, which is the doing of the International Gymnastics Federation. They really want parkour to become like a what would you call it? A something. It's a something of gymnastics. But parkour is not gymnastics. It's something that looks very similar. Yes, there's lots of flips, there's lots of tricks, there's a lot of movement that looks similar, but at the end of the day, they are completely separate from each other. For example, parkour is done in an outside environment. Gymnastics is most of the time, the majority, like 90% of the time, done indoors, not outdoors. And that is, I think, that's not the main difference, but it is a big difference because indoors you've got a lot of equipment, you've got these floors called spring floors. So it's basically a flat floor with a bunch of springs under it, and then when you jump on that, it shoots you up really high. It's essentially a jumping castle, but it's hard. Parkour does not use that. Parkour uses your surroundings in a city or urban environment, or really just anywhere. A fence post, the wall of a house, even. You could use the bars in a park on the jungle gyms, and really they are different sports. The other difference between gymnastics and parkour is the fact that people who do gymnastics do their competitions differently. Parkour, it's about how efficient you were and how cool it looked. Gymnastics, you start with points and they take it away depending on how bad you're doing. Whereas with parkour, they add points depending on how well you did. In my opinion, the parkour route for doing this, route. It's a route, not a route, people. Apparently, it's a route. Parkour route for this is very different to the gymnastics one, and it's going away from the sports side. Parkour, I've also noticed, is very therapeutic. If you want to know about a guy who did really, really well and who's a really good example of this, check out Ronnie's Street Stunts channel. He's actually got a video recommend that's like all about this. I'll have a link to that down in the description if you want. I'll also have a link to Storo down in the description, just in case you want to check them out for yourselves. For example, Hudson, the other dude on this channel. Yes, this is our first talking video on the channel, by the way, just so that you guys know, this is our first talking video. We haven't talked in any of the other videos either. What we have done is we've taken a bunch of videos of ourselves doing parkour at different locations, and we kind of compiled it. So this is our first video that we're actually going to be talking about. His back was very rounded, and he really struggled to straighten it, and there were a lot of tricks he couldn't do when he started doing parkour. He's actually only been doing parkour for about a year now, and I would say he's already on my level, and I've been doing this for 5 years, which is amazing, but his back has straightened so much. since he started doing parkour. He went from like this to this. It helps people so much. Um, it's also just a great way of keeping fit in general. That's something else I've noticed. Let me just check, make sure this thing is actually recording. Yes, it's recording. Cool. It's actually recording. I was really hoping that it wasn't gonna just stop, or or that I didn't talk through this entire length of the video so far and the video wasn't recording. That would have been terrible. There's a lot of different stuff to do. There's vaulting, which is kind of jumping over an object or getting over a wall or something quickly, or to do it in style. How it depends. There's pretty much one for every single purpose you could think of, almost. Not quite. You get the point. You can do wall runs. It's great for if you are in a situation where you have to run away from something or get away from something really quickly. Parkour will allow you to be able to traverse places that you never thought you'd be able to traverse before. You'll be able to go over roofs, you'll be able to climb buildings, you'll be able to get over walls and fences people in faster times than anybody else could be able to do it. It's so amazing. And it's also something that barely anybody that doesn't actually do the sport actually knows about. And at this point, it's kind of like skating. Skating took a really, really long time to actually get to the point where it is where it's at now. I'm getting tongue tied. So weird. It took a really long time for skating to get where it is now, and it's an Olympic sport now. Parkour is in actual fact not very old. It's 30 years old now, I think. 30 years old. 1988. Yes. 30, almost 30, 32 years old. 32 years old. The guy who started it, David Bell, I haven't actually seen him around very much in the parkour community now, but he is the founder of parkour. He's French as well, so yes, parkour is was founded in France. But parkour, parkour. Where was I going with this? Where was I going? Hmm. Oh, you're right. Skating. I was on skating. Skating. It is in the early stages of its development still, even though it's only 30 years old, and it's being taken advantage on by many people. One of the spin-off competitions that there is for parkour is called Chase Tag. You can check that out, and I'll leave a link in the description to that as well. World Chase Tag is a thing now as well. Multiple countries, people from those countries competing with each other. Fox TV ripped off Chase Tag and they made a thing called Ultimate Tag, which you may or may not have seen. Basically, they stole all the trademark stuff and stuck it into their own thing. It's an amazing sport it's changed my life a lot. I've been doing parkour for 5 years, and I went from being a guy who's just kind of stuck. I'm very straightforward, black and white. Uh, Always kind of do things this way. If you're doing it wrong, it's wrong. You need to correct it. Didn't really get a lot of jokes, if I'm being honest. I was kind of like, I don't get it. Every time someone made a certain joke. And I've just been able to loosen up so much. It. I'll be honest, if it weren't for parkour, my life would be in a way worse place than it is right now. And I owe that all to parkour. Hit that subscribe button. You can check out our video Parkour in Quarantine as well, which will be up up here, I think. Yeah, it'll be up over here in this corner. And we'll see you in that one.